Hi everybody, welcome back to another video. Tonight I am going to be doing part 2 of my Army memories. This is the one where I'm going to talk about basic training. I kind of, in my first video, talked about what kind of led me up to joining the military and right to literally the start of basic training. So I'm going to pick it up from there. Uh, so, the thing I think I had the most difficulty with at first was adjusting to the speed. I had led a somewhat slow-paced life, even which is odd for somebody from New York. Is normally it's really fast-paced there, but that's nothing. You get to the army, So I had a lot of difficulty. Not it wasn't so physical the first few days, but that high-speed, super fast thing I was kind of having difficulty with. I didn't mind the haircut, that was the buzz cut because to be honest, like ever since the army, I've kind of maintained that sort of. I mean, I don't have like the fade on the side, but this is like hippie hair for me. This is like the longest I've ever let it be. It's just easier for me. I'm an easy, low maintenance guy when it comes to that stuff. So, um, I think back, I was still kind of chunky when I got into the army. I had to lose a significant amount of weight to even qualify to go to the army, but I was still overweight for my height and age, and this chart that they have from back in the 1950s, which doesn't really apply today. But anyway, so when I first got there, after I went through the whole processing and getting your uniforms, getting all your stuff done, they sent me to what they it's basically fat camp. I don't know what they technically called it. It was kind of this whole freaks and geeks thing going on there. It was either people like me that were too chunky, people that were injured and unable to go to basic training yet until they got that all sorted out. And I just remember it was a strange group of guys. There was one guy, I called him Lurch because he sounded like that from the old Addams Family show. Can I help you? And this big, like tall, bulky guy who wet the bed, so they put him on the top bunk. And the guy that they had underneath him looked like a mouse, and he was on crutches, and he would sleep with an umbrella. So, U.S. Army, I don't know what you were thinking on that one. But anyway, so I did that for a couple days. Started exercising, starting getting into shape. Started slowly, kind of, acclimating to the faster pace thing. And I remember one night. It was the night before I was going to, finally be able to go down to basic training. There was a gentleman there with me, and I don't remember why he was there because I remember him being in like excellent shape. But his name was Specialist Jeremy Lund. He was 21 years old. He had married, had a 3-month-old daughter, and I had guard duty, CQ, whatever the heck they called it that one night. So we were just fire watching, whatever it was. So we sat there and kind of got to know each other and talk for a few hours and whatnot. And he's a really nice guy. So next morning you got all your gear and they load you into these cattle trucks. Literally, they load you into these cattle trucks where you got your bag in front of you. You put your head down on the bag, and they tell you just look down, don't move, don't look, don't anything. And they're driving like friggin' madmen. You're bouncing around all over the truck. And you get down to where your basic training building is going to be, and the doors fly open, and it's like a wall of drill sergeants. It's like your worst nightmare. Maybe 20 or 30 of them, and they are screaming at you, and they're just having their way with you. They're doing what they called smoking you, where they'd have you do. They can't hit you, so they have you do all these physical things, push-ups, flutter kicks, sit-ups, whatever. They have you doing all this crazy stuff. Um, while this happened, this was Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri, middle of Missouri in June. It was hot. It was like 100 something degrees. Um, Specialist Lund died, and his heart gave out. I don't know the full story. And I had, excuse my French here. I'm gonna use a word I would try not usually use in these videos. Not that they're made for kids, but I had an asshole for a drill sergeant. And when we were in the building, he's like, "Oh yeah, that guy there, yeah, he's dead." So yeah, screw you, drill sergeant. Anyway, so that's how my basic training started. It's not like I knew the guy his whole life, but I had met him, nice kid, and here he was gone. So my basic got sort of postponed again, and they pulled us aside. They did this big investigation. We had to talk to some battalion colonel who interviewed us and all this. And we're talking like a week and a half in the army, and I'm already up there with like one of the high brass, and this stuff is going on. So it was difficult. Just a period of adjustment mixed with this. I mean, again, I didn't know him that well. I talked to him for a couple hours one night, but it just kind of, it's something that always stuck with me. I will talk about it briefly in the forthcoming video where I talk about advanced individual training after basic training, but we'll get to that in the next video. So one of the things when I first started basic training that I had a lot of difficulty with, yeah, I mean, okay, I was still out of shape. I had a little difficulty with that. Not as bad as I thought it would be, but I had trouble marching. I was never in like the band or anything, and not that I'm a klutz or anything, but I'm not like the most. I mean, I know how to ice skate and rollerblade, but I'm not the most graceful person, so I did have a lot of trouble with marching right in the beginning. Um, you know, yeah, I was not, one of the Rockettes. Let's say I was not Mister, Fleet on my feet. So that was kind of a challenge, just kind of keeping in step. Even though you sing what they call cadences to help you keep in step, I was still a little bit off. Again, I'm tall, lanky. Just not something I'm accustomed to. But I dealt with it. So what were some of the highlights of basic training? Week one, they take you to the gas chamber. That's fun. So, you got your mask, and they tell you before you go in there, no matter what happens when you get out, don't touch your eyes. Don't pour any water on your head. It's gonna suck, but you'll live. So you go inside, and you got your mask on, and the room. It's like this little bunker. So I don't even know how to describe it. And it fills up. It's green in there with CS gas. It's something like riot police use. It won't kill you per se. It stops your diaphragm to where you have difficulty breathing. So theoretically, if you're in it long enough, you could be in trouble. But I mean, it's just more like just to disorient you kind of thing. So you're in there, and the drill sergeants are having you do all this thing. You have to take off your mask for a second, reseal it, learn how to clear out, you know, uh, if anything ever gets into your mask, and then they make you take it off, and you got to stay in there a certain amount of time, and then the door flings open, and you can go outside. And I remember I came out and I had this booger about like 3 feet long, this green nasty thing sticking out of my face. And I remember one of the girls that was there with me, because we were a co-ed company, she's like screaming and hollering, and she pours the water over her head, and of course that makes all of it go into her eyes, and she's screaming more, and the drill sergeant's like, "Damn it, what did I tell you?" So they pull her aside and punish the crap out of her. So that was week one. That was a bunch of fun. Um, we started doing a lot of like different obstacle courses, and I actually ended up hurting the rotator cuff in my left shoulder really bad. I mean, I was doing something, and I just heard this loud like this really loud pop noise, and it hurt like hell, and I fell off the thing, and they sent me down to the medic and whatnot, and I didn't quite tear it. I damaged it to where like I couldn't do crap for a week. So I already had this dickhead drill sergeant who didn't like me. So I'm like, all right, well, what am I supposed to do? He's like, stand in the corner, put your thumb in your ass crack, and hum, like all these things. So yeah, like he didn't like me, so that's what I was doing there. Um, you know, there's a big misconception that people have about the military is that it's all guns and blowing stuff up, and it's not. Um, yeah, okay, the physical aspects are difficult, but honestly, 90% of the military is mental. It's getting your mind to not only work as a team but work as an individual. I know that doesn't really make sense, but you have to get to the point where you open up your mind to the possibility of doing things that you never thought were possible, that you never thought you could do, for example. I didn't really have difficulty with it. It's just a period of adjustment. You know, when I went in, it was 9 weeks of basic training. I believe it's 10 now. I'm not really sure. I mean, we're talking about 20 years ago. I did go in on the anniversary of D-Day, June 5th, 2000 was my first ever day in the Army. Um, so, like I said, it's just a period of adjustment, you know. But it amazes me, like, you know, these things. I thought I'd never be able to do it, and I did it, and I was pretty good at it, you know. Kind of shocked myself, shocked everybody else too. Um, one, I don't know if it was the third week, we had to do this rappelling tower. Now I'm terrified of heights, guys. Which is funny because we're going to get to something interesting in the subsequent video, but I'm terrified of heights. So I get up there and I'm all harnessed up and I'm shaking like a friggin' leaf. And I kind of look back, and I think it was only, I don't know, maybe, 60, 90 feet high, whatever it was, you know. And the drill sergeant's like, go. And I've got the rope and I'm like, you know, and he like points up, and you know they're not supposed to hit you, but this guy was a dick. He kind of kicked me off the thing, so down I go screaming like a little girl. You know, I rappel my way down off the wall, doing the whole special forces SWAT team thing, and I get to the bottom. Not very happy camper. Didn't soil myself, thank God, but yeah, not my most pleasant experience. You know, speaking of unpleasant experiences, you know the drill sergeants, they do a lot of team building exercises, as they might call it. Um, they don't necessarily punish you; they'll punish everybody to inspire you to do better. You know, so I don't even know what the heck. I don't think I did anything this one particular time, but they woke us up late at night. You know, they'd have us like take all our bunks apart, bring them outside, set them all up, get in bed, let you sleep for like 10 minutes, and then, here it is, time in the morning, wake up, bring them all back inside, put them all back together. You know, you're exhausted. The lack of sleep, that was another thing that was killing me. Like I said, I was getting in shape. I was doing it. I was not the fastest runner, but, slowly but surely I was getting in shape. But the lack of sleep was kind of getting to me. Anyway, I remember this other time. It was like four of us. The drill sergeant just kind of picked four of us out, and he's like, "Get out here, damn it!" And there was a patch of dirt in front of our building. Get the hose! And he's like, "Turn it into a swamp." We just soaked the crap out of this mud, and it looked like something from like a '90s rave party. And he's like, "Lay down in there," and he had us roll back and forth, the four of us, through the mud for literally like 5 minutes. I mean, we came out looking like something out of Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. Go back inside. I was so freaking pissed off. I had mud in every orifice of my body. Uh, oh, I hated that one drill sergeant. Anyway, some of the other things you do in basic training, you do guard duty. You know, like somebody, they're very strict about when it's time to go to sleep. And but honestly, you're so exhausted, you lay down, you're out. But sometimes you get guard duty. And I remember one, I'm standing way at the end of one hallway, and there's another dude from another platoon way at the other end of the hallway, and we had our little flashlights to do signals and stuff. And we're just standing there for a couple hours on end, and then he starts whistling like the good, bad, and the ugly theme, and he's like flashing, and we're like kind of drawing on each other, which was kind of funny, just little things like that. We went to the rifle range in week 3, 4 ish, and I never shot a gun before. I know a lot of people, they have before they go in the military, but never shot a gun before, never shot a gun after. I wasn't horrible. It's kind of funny. Like I might have been a good sniper. Like the ones that were like hundreds of yards out, I could hit them between the eye. The one that would pop up 50 feet, I'd hit the tree, the dirt, the grass. Like I couldn't hit it worth the crap. That was just a normal rifle range. But we had something at the time they called U.S. weapons, where they would teach you like grenade launchers, old M60s from like the Vietnam era, 249s, all these rocket launch, all these other weapons and stuff. And I remember the M60s were these long. You see them like the Vietnam era movies, those big long machine guns, and it's like a two-person thing where one person is supposed to like kind of hold it, and the other person is a spotter for you. And I remember the drill sergeant telling me, "Get your head down on that rifle, Scavello," and I'm like, you know, whatever. And I didn't. And when I pulled that trigger, it was like, like, oh, you know, adjusted my jaw 3 inches to the left, you know. And he comes running over and he's like, damn it, what'd I tell you, stupid, you know. I remember going to the grenade range where the first time we ever, you know, threw live grenades where they line you up in a building and then, you know, when it's your turn, you go into this bunker, you pop the pin, you toss it with a drill sergeant, you got your flak vest, God forbid, and wasn't me. So I was in the building at the time, and I just, you know, you're in line. Now, during this time, you know, you're a recruit. You're not allowed to really say anything, do anything. You can't really talk. You're just kind of quiet, shut up, stand in place, do exactly what we tell you, speak if you're spoken to, kind of thing. You know, so I'm in line, and I hear, everybody down. We get down, and it's like, the whole thing shakes. Some idiot, when they went to pull the friggin', you know, pin on the grenade like this to throw it, they dropped it. Drill sergeant grabs them, throws them out, gets on top of them, and then, you know, just stuff like that. You know, we did a lot of cool obstacle courses though. I do remember that. Things again I never thought in a million years I'd be able to do. There was one where it was like a team thing, maybe like 7 or 8 of us, where there's a tower and it's just these platforms, you know, and it went pretty freaking high up, you know. So one person has to run, jump up, pull himself up, and then you start pulling each other up. And then, you know, you put somebody on your shoulders and vice versa. So you got to climb all the way up and all the way down. And there's literally nothing but just these platforms. There's nothing to really hold on to. So that was really cool. There was one that we did. It was like you're not allowed to talk. It's complete silence, and you have to figure out a way as a team to get across these obstacles. It's a really cool, you know, little thing. I wish I could describe it better, but it was just kind of like you had to get across this little creek or something, and all you had was like, you know, a piece of wood and this other thing, and you couldn't talk, so you had to signal with each other or, you know, draw out a plan somehow to do this whole intense little obstacle course, which was really cool. You know, we did like a night fire exercise where you're kind of crawling on the ground and they're shooting live. I mean, it was what they call tracer ammunition, so you see it, but it's still basically live ammunition. They're shooting over your head, and you have to get used to like the sensation, the sound of, you know, what weapons going over your head. One of the sorry, one of the things toward the end of basic training is this endurance course. That was a pain in the neck. You're basically marching everywhere. It's not really a sleep deprivation thing per se, but you're up for, I think I was up 41, 42 hours straight. And, you know, if you're up that long, if you've never been up that long, like a period of time, you start to kind of wig out and see things and experience things. I've never done drugs, so I don't know, but I would assume it's something along those lines. Like, I just remember, I can't remember specifics like I do with my dreams, but it just being very surreal experience, very weird experience. Yeah, so like I said, we were up for a good 40. It was either 41 or 42 hours straight. So, but that's toward the end. You know, one thing I remember was we spent a week. They call it bivouac, where you're like out in the field. You know, you have to dig foxholes and set up and whatnot. I just remember one time we had to sit in our gas mask for about 4 hours or more, and I started. I'm not claustrophobic per se, but I kind of started wigging out, like I was wanting to get out of that thing, you know. So that wasn't happy. So, but you know, by the end of 9 weeks, I had lost 47 pounds. I looked kind of sickly, like I could see my hip bones when I looked in the mirror, which was really weird to me because I've always kind of been not fat, but like overweight. You know, my frame always carried all this extra weight, so like to see myself so skinny like that was like I thought I was looking at one of those like carnival mirrors. It just looked wrong, you know. But you know, I made it through 9 weeks of basic training, and I enjoyed it. You know, I had got little bumps and bruises and hurt my shoulder and whatnot, but overall, you know, even though it was tough, I did enjoy it. You know, my dad came up to see my graduation. You know, he drove up from Houston. He was the only family member that was able to attend or willing to attend or whatever. You know, so he saw me and he started crying, and we kind of embraced, which was odd for me and my dad because we're not, you know, that way. But he stayed up there for a couple days. Since I was active duty and I was going into military intelligence, I had to wait for orders to come in and some other paperwork. So 95% of my platoon, my company, I should say, this platoon and then company, they were National Guard, they were reservists, so they went home. So the few of us that were actually active duty, there was maybe less than 10 of us out of the whole couple hundred of us. We had graduated basic training, so they kind of separated us to another part of the barracks. We got a little bit better treatment, we got a little more freedom. Yes, we could say we'd earned it. But it wasn't like we were on vacation. I mean, they had us doing these little odd jobs around the base. We'd be helping out what they called police call. You basically go clean up something, or help with painting, help moving, whatever. They keep you busy, but they give you a little bit more leeway and respect. So they put you in this other kind of holdover platoon, and that's where I met somebody that became a best friend in life. He was literally with me from that point on every step of the way where I was in the military. So we first met there. Got to know each other, which was really cool. I was in this holdover platoon, and I don't remember the first sergeant's name, but he called me Freddie Mercury. He's like, "You look like Freddie Mercury." So I'd be in formation every morning, and I'd have to do another one bites the dust, just to entertain him, stuff like that. So I just thought it was kind of cool. Like I said, I enjoyed basic training. I knew I could do it. I think that a lot of people doubted I could do it. So, I proved them wrong, which made me proud and made me happy. I wasn't doing it out of spite, but, I was like, hey, you were wrong. Not going to say it was easy, but it wasn't as hard as I thought it was going to be. And I was in the best. Oh, well, no, I got a little bit better shape after that. But, I was in some of the best physical and mental shape of my life. So, again, there was tough times. There was a lot of times where you're tired and you're just sore, and you just have to keep going. You have to dig down deep inside and just keep going. So I'm going to wrap this video up. That talks about basic training. I still have some more upcoming videos where I talk about the advanced, individual training, which is basically your job training depending on what specialty you picked. I'll talk about airborne school after that. Which is kind of ironic because we talked about how I'm afraid of heights, and then eventually we'll talk about my final duty station in September 11th in subsequent videos. Guys, if you have enjoyed this or you've been enjoying my videos, please subscribe to my channel, hit the notification button, so you'll know if I post any new videos. Like the videos, definitely comment on it if you have any questions about basic training or just time in the Army, or if you were also in the military. And you want to, talk about that, by all means, go ahead and do so. I really appreciate any kind of feedback you guys give me. And I will see you in the next video. Like I said, we still got a few more ones coming up.